I'm Jay Taylor. I'm the editor of a newsletter called Jay Taylor's Gold Energy and Tech Stocks. I'm here with Peter Tallman. He's the president and CEO of Klondike Gold Corp. It's a company that's exploring the Klondike, the great Klondike placer discovery you've all heard about, but nobody has ever really explained the origins of it until Peter came along a number of years ago with Klondike to start doing a real scientific study of the origins, and he's made a lot. They've learned a lot since I don't know 6-7 years ago, I guess it is, Peter.
Yeah.
Klondike has a market cap of only around $22 million, something like that. It's a baby, and I think it's something that serious investors of exploration companies want to pay some close attention to. So, thanks for joining me, Peter. And I'd like to start out by just asking you, what have you learned? We only have a short period of time. Tell us in lay terms why you believe that you have some sense of of where the gold is now, and just take it from there.
Basic story, history of the Klondike from discovery 1896 up through the 1960s. The geologists who worked on it then found lots of gold in the bedrock.
Yeah.
The problem was that the gold price was $20 to $35 an ounce. These were potentially open pittable, so disseminated.
Right.
So nobody was interested in open pit. And that was completely discounted thoroughly. It's like, why would you do that? And then there was a hiatus, and from 1980 to 2014, I came on in 2014, the group, it was really one group that ran the exploration. And they said the age of the gold mineralization is Jurassic. They didn't identify any fault, despite saying that there's an orogenic gold model. Mm-hmm. And so if you look globally, gold mineralization in the Jurassic especially for orogenic deposits, is entirely uninteresting. They concluded there's no gold in the bedrock. There's 20 million ounces of gold that's sitting at surface, has no source, and it's thoroughly uninteresting. Why would anyone go? So when I took over, the idea was maybe they were wrong. I thought it would take a couple of years to figure it out. Sadly, it's taken 7. So the longest 3 years of my professional career. But we've shown now that the age of the gold mineralization is very likely Cretaceous, 100 million years of age. If that's true, it's the same age as California Mother Lode, which has a placer deposit on top of it. It's the same age as Colima, mm-hmm. which has a mega placer deposit on top of it. Both of those belts have produced hundreds of millions of ounces from bedrock. We have 20 million ounces of gold at surface in the same geology with 0 until now. And so we've made, over the last 7 years, we've made a bunch of different discoveries. We think the entire belt is thoroughly mineralized. It has, my number now is 50 million ounces of potential, 50. Mm-hmm. And we will have, within the next 2 months, the first ever mineral resource in the Klondike. And it'll be, whatever. It'll come, and as soon as we have that, we're going to announce from the drilling this year. We'll announce an update next year and with the PEA.
Mm-hmm. Now, your initial resources is really from a very small area. Give us a sense of the scale of the Klondike, of your properties, and these structures that run for many kilometers.
So that we've now thoroughly documented 4 major crustal terrain boundary thrusts, mm-hmm. and they're mineralized, more or less, gold mineralized along the entirety of it. So when I got involved, nobody wanted the Klondike, so I managed to get the entirety of the district, basically for next to nothing. And so 4 structures run the entire length of our property, which is 50 kilometers long. And I can show you the maps. They're gold mineralized, each of them, along the entirety of their length. So we focused on the famous Bonanza Creek, El Creek area. We see 4 structures within that area. We've got gold mineralization along 3 of them. And we're going to have a mineral resource at Lone Star that's about 900 meters long. That's a mineral resource, mm-hmm. out of 5 kilometers of mm-hmm. gold mineralization in bedrock.
Just with that structure.
And also we're going to include, that was the first thing we found. And we're going to include 200 odd meters in 2 different patches of the standard zone that also runs 5 kilometers of gold mineralization, just as a start. Mm-hmm. That we found afterwards, but it turns out the standard zone is better. It has a higher grade than Lone Star Zone. Lone Star Zone is the first. I've been saying that for a while. It's not necessarily the best. And the Standard Zone looks better. We have lots of discoveries to make.
All right, so what you're going to be doing this year, your exploration program is going to be focused on the resource, of course, but
Yep.
are you going to be going beyond that? Because this is going to be a resource that I think some people are going to say, yeah, you know, it's not multi-million ounces. It's going to be less than 1 million ounces probably, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not that exciting, but you're going to be doing a lot more. You're going to be doing a lot more exploration this year to expand the potential.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you're right. It's going to, especially when we go to pit constrained, it's going to be less than 1 million ounces as the initial one. That's up to the end of 2021 drilling.
Okay.
We're drilling now, and like I just alluded to, those 200 odd meter lengths on the Standard Zone have about 1 kilometer in between them. They're connected. It's the same structure. So we have the money, and currently we're drilling right now to fill that gap in. So
Okay.
that's 1 kilometer of potential area with 200 odd meters, so say, call it 400 or 500 meters of resource with 1 kilometer in between of our potentially our best stuff.
But that won't be in
That's
this-
going to come in a 2023
right
update.
resource.
And importantly, all the gold here is coarse free gold you can collect by gravity methods. 20 million ounces have been mined by placer with gravity.
Right.
So there's no cyanide contemplated. It's easy to recover.
Very
And
important.
so the preliminary economic assessment, we're digging it up with a backhoe, literally. So it's really cheap. Mining costs potentially are very, very low.
So you're going to have a PEA soon?
2023 after the update.
2023 after
I
the
would
update. And
bookend that with an update.
I mean, the last we talked, you were talking about the possibility of some early production. It sounded kind of goofy to me, but
And well, okay. So in the Yukon, a formal big bedrock mine with cyanide would take at least 10 years to permit. However, the Klondike is a placer district and has been for 125 years. So we staked over the Standard and Lone Star to placer and filed for a placer mining permit. All the gold mineralization sits at surface. It's in a fault that basically, so you can't tell where the gravel colluvium and the bedrock begins. It's no definition, so we can go dig some of it up. At Lone Star, there's 250,000 ounces potentially sitting at surface. That's the best grade that outcrops. Okay, well, guess what? We could do something significant with that.
yeah, there've been some mining like that in the past. I think one of the majors had done.
Teck did that exact same thing from 1980 to 1996. Their Gold Run mine was the most profitable in the company's history ever. And I can see why. That's why the PEA is important, because it just didn't cost them anything either.
Just a couple of minutes left. This is an orogenic system. They run deep. Now you're talking about multiple kilometers and you're just looking at surface right now, basically. And I understand why, because deep drilling is expensive. Are you planning to do any kind of deep drilling just to test to see what might be at depth? Is that something you might do sometime, or are you just wanting to save your dollars and build a resource that's mineable?
All the quartz veins in the Klondike, all the gold bearing mineralization in the Klondike dips one way. And the Standard Zone dips into the hill. The Lone Star Zone basically goes right along the top of the hill. So it's an easy open pit.
Okay.
Standard Zone is going to be narrower and it's higher grade. And so definitely I would like, and we've had about 1,000 grams gold over a meter, right? And we have some super high grade intersections in the Standard Zone. So yeah, deeper drilling. So far we haven't gone much below 75 or 100 vertical meters anywhere. But the Standard Zone is definitely an attractive, deeper target. And so, yes, this year you'll see some of that.
Wonderful. Well, so just in wrapping up, then we should be watching, I guess, the PEA, not the PEA, the initial resource.
First one ever.
And then
Amazing.
And then drill results should be coming later in the summer, I suppose.
Yep. All the way through. Again, it takes a while.
Fall.
Yeah. And then from that, we'd have an updated mineral resource in 2023. And we're already working on the PEA as well.
Wonderful.
So we'd bookend that.
Well, with a 26 million, 22 million market cap, I
It's
think
a buy.
it's a,
Sorry, go buy
Well-
it now, I think, in my personal opinion.
well, it's certainly a very attractive speculation.
Yeah.
I would say that, Peter, and want to thank you very much.
It's
for
a
your
pleasure
time.
always, Jay.